What is going on, guys? It is Saturday night, and it is an action-packed Saturday night. We have a great show on deck for you guys. We're going to review some Collision. We're going to review some Battle of the Belts. We're in the midst of a little bit of anarchy and chaos here with some snowy weather and some NFL action, some TNA going on. We got some NJPW happening right now in the Battle of the Valley. I am Dan the Man. I'm going to kick it over to my co-host, Vincent Laspada. What is going on?
Man, I got to tell you, this Battle of the Belts is becoming like a Jason Voorhees fucking sequel. I mean, how many of these fuckers are they going to do?
It is rough. It is rough. I also got joining us tonight our other co-host, Evil Dose. How we doing?
What is up? If this was supposed to be an audition for the 3-hour version of Dynamite, this was what you would call an abject failure.
I sadly agree. And then we have a special guest tonight, Mike Knox.
Yeah.
What's going on, people?
Leveling up.
AEW. How many Battle of the Belts, Vinny? How many Clash of the Champions were there? That's how many Battle of the Belts there will be until he has snowboard contracts.
I feel like it's getting very they're beating it in the ground, like, you know, it just.
How many WrestleManias are there? You're going to promote what you're going to promote.
WrestleMania's once a year.
Battle of the Belts is once. No, it's like once, maybe I think twice. But Clash again, I look at it as Clash of Champions, Saturday Night Main Event. No, it doesn't have the same feel or pop to those. But I got to give any promotion credit for trying to do something that is kind of nostalgic by giving things a title name. You know what I mean? Like a lot of shows now, like I have to say this, and I hate this as an AEW show, but even Trips is now ripping off some of the things that they did with these themed Raws and themed SmackDowns. People seem to like them. Whether we do or not, we'll discuss that. But
absolutely.
Listen, guys, there's a very easy answer for this. When they had their contract renewed after 1 year, part of the deal was another show and 4 annual specials. So this is year 3 of that, and we have had 4 1 year, 4 another year, and now we're at number 9. So you count to 8. Now we're 9. It's January, and that was part of the contract. Will this be in the contract renewal? I strongly doubt it. So so I guess enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah, I mean, we won't know. We won't know until it happens, but. You know, I think it was only a couple days ago that Warner Brothers Discovery released a statement basically shutting down a lot of, you know, the hearsay and the rumors going on about, hey, AEW is doing well for our station. It's doing well for our programming. We're getting the target audience that we want, you know, between that 18 to, 49 range. And we're happy with it. So I think that's kind of a clear indication at that point because they didn't need to even say that.
Can I jump in here for 1 second? Because people are making a lot about that, and there's nothing bad in that press release. However, there's nothing special about it either. This is premiere week for all the networks. They're doing press releases about all of their divisions, and all they did is they took the press release about all of their sports and sports-like stuff, and they cut the part out for wrestling. They did the same thing for basketball and whatever else they cover. Because Premier Week goes into Sweeps Week, which is about a month and a half, which then goes into the upfronts, which is where you sell your ad rates or settle ad rates. Right. This is all part of the annual dance to get the ad rates up. It's really nothing more than that. Does it look good? Sure. Does it mean anything? This isn't, and for the naysayers out there, this is not like the owner giving a vote of confidence for the GM or a coach. It's not like, yeah, they're definitely being fired. It's neither of those things. It's completely neutral. It's just part of the annual sales pitch.
Well, I mean, personally, my opinion on all this is I'm agreeing with that statement. But I also do believe that you're not going to get rid of you're investing heavily and hard into sports programming right now. Some people consider pro wrestling a sport. Some people do not. It's entertainment, yada, yada. They have a lot of money in the NBA right now. They have a lot of money in NHL right now. There's a lot of money in multiple sports. Pro wrestling is clearly something they're not going to drop. So they're either going to have another wrestling promotion or they're going to have AEW. Wrestling will not be off of TNT, TBS, so forth. And I do not foresee them giving WWE the type of money they want for Raw. So AEW sticking around on Warner Brothers Discovery.
I thought they were going to Max.
It's still a part of Warner Brothers Discovery, whatever does inevitably happen.
I mean, we have 3 hours of TV to cover, and it's,
we have plenty.
So I don't want to have the whole TV discussion here, but talk about all the time on Hammerlock Hangover. So tune in there if you want to hear my thoughts on TV and TV contracts writ large.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right in to the start of Collision tonight. So we're kicking off from Norfolk, Virginia. Pretty historic city for pro wrestling. There's been a lot of memorable moments. A lot of great action happens in Norfolk. I mean, obviously, the dog in the back, it's a big deal.
And it doesn't shut up.
Doesn't shut up. I know. Jeez Louise.
It's like the wife.
Just make sure she doesn't hear that.
Yeah, whisper. You saw I was checking.
So Adam Copeland is out in the ring, starts off the show, and, he's kind of issuing, I guess, his open challenge, to which we get Lee Moriarty, who steps up and takes on Adam Copeland. Copeland does pick up the victory. I think we all saw that coming. And
it's a joke, is what it is.
and
They're giving us
then,
bullshit people.
I mean, I think it all kind of led to a squash, so to say, and then we're going to continue on the Christian Cage storyline.
I understand that, but
yeah,
I'm
going to shut up.
Do you feel like they're wasting time in the beginning for him to, like, okay, so like he goes, all right, the Copeland challenge is the Copeland Cup is here, but then he gets this guy and his rookie guy on the mic, and then they sit there and they waste, I don't know, 6 minutes of them jabbing their mouth. It's like shut the hell up and just wrestle.
Listen, I'm going to say something. Right? I mean, first of all, I think it's funny that Lee Moriarty's one of his little ears on his cat mask was down. That's all you need to know. But this should have been a squash match. It wasn't. The saddest thing is this is what they're doing with Shane Taylor. Shane Taylor, he has an unfortunate build, but he's an amazing wrestler. He's a great talker. He's got charisma for days. And if you listen to what he says, everything he says matters. I mean, he said, we're not going to rap for you to insult your intelligence. Basically, he's saying, every black wrestler doesn't need to be a hip hop guy. I mean, he's and Shane Taylor Promotions was so good, and unfortunately it's been ripped aside. Like Bishop Khan is part of Shane Taylor Promotions, or was. Moses not around. Don't know where he is. O'Shea Edwards not around. I actually ran into him in Pennsylvania. Lives in the area. But Lee Moriarty is the guy that they've saddled him with, and Lee Moriarty is in that trifecta of Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, and Lee Moriarty, who they insist on pushing down our throats, who are never going to be anything. But what's worse than this wasn't a squash match when it should have been. Copeland had trouble beating him. And the problem is, and someone's going to say, well, yeah, he wants to work with younger talent and elevate them. That would be the case if I had any belief that next week Lee Moriarty was going to beat someone and there was going to be sustained matches where this elevated him, where he started winning matches. But he's just going to go back to Ring of Honor, and you're not going to see him again for months until he dust him off for something like this. So this to me was an immense waste of time. And Adam Copeland ain't built for working every week anymore. He just isn't. It's just not
Definitely
there.
not. Definitely
Is it safe to say that let the wrestlers? I get what you guys are saying in a sense. I remember Edge's Instagram tweet, and I've stuck with it, and I've run with it ever since. Relax, guys. It's supposed to be fun. That man Edge has done everything he could possibly do in this business. So if he wants to go out here and do what we consider crap, you know what I mean? Then let him. I'm glad it wasn't a squash match. I mean, this is not 1987. Like, let these guys get in here. They're not going to be no bigger than this. This might be the best thing he ever did. Go wrestle against Edge. I'm sorry, Adam Copeland. You know what I'm saying? So let him get his shine, and they enjoyed the show.
Here's the thing, though, and I'm gonna. I promise I'll stop and let other people speak during this segment if they want to. But the thing you just said is interesting. You said let him have fun. Yeah, let him have fun, but this is a weird way that wrestling fans have started to think the last 5 or 6 years. They're supposed to have us have fun. If we don't enjoy it, I don't care how much fun he's having. He can be miserable. Do your job well. And so this should have been a squash match. If you don't want to squash Lee Moriarty, if you're one of the 7 people out there who think Lee Moriarty has a future in this business, then don't have it be him. He beat Griff Garrison, whose partner is Cole Caden or whatever last week. Let it have been Cole Caden then to be squashed this week. That would have made sense. He's trying to get revenge for his partner being embarrassed. I don't know.
But let's be honest here. AEW and Tony Khan do not like to do squash matches. It's just not in their DNA. And I think there should be a little more squash matches. I think that's kind of dumb how they don't put over some of the bigger names as much with a squash. I mean, I think the last time we've seen a squash was probably Wardlow, and it was a couple-minute powerbomb fest. Beyond that, I couldn't tell you the last time we've had one.
But he's wrestling Edge. That's supposed to get him over. I remember when I interviewed Road Dogg and he talked about the legends coming back, and most legends that I've had the opportunity to speak with, they tell you when they're at a certain stage in their careers, that's their job. Right. Does he have to win the match? No, but in this case, Edge had to win. But Lee Moriarty got over.
He did.
He got over tonight to me.
There's no doubt, and he needed that. He needed that rub from Adam Copeland. Lee Moriarty has a ton of potential, and I think they just have such a stacked, loaded roster at the moment that it's hard to get all these guys in there when you have so many things going on. But I mean, I will say right now, there is a clear lack of storyline right now in AEW. And I don't even think you can really dispute that. That's a huge problem right now, is they can't deliver a sustained storyline, and there's no clear direction of what is going on right now. Can anyone name me right now a storyline besides Copeland and Cage that you can think of that is currently ongoing?
Well, I mean, you had the devil thing, and then they ended it with MJF.
Yeah, but MJF is nowhere to be found right now.
No, I know. I'm saying what I'm saying it was
into other stories, but no, you're right. I mean, there are. I mean, there's Timeless Tony Storm. They're starting on with Deonna Purrazzo, and that's another issue I have with tonight's match. But yeah, you're right. The story is Adam Copeland and Christian, so that's why this should have been a squash match, because you shouldn't take anything away from them going into each other like two juggernauts, even though Christian is really sort of trying to avoid it. But
right.
Nothing should make you think that Adam Copeland is vulnerable now to an any given Sunday moment. So that's all I'm saying. It's not about Lee Moriarty in particular. I mean, I'm not a fan, obviously, but if I believe for a second that he was gonna be on TV the next 7 out of 8 weeks and go 7-0, then I'd be like, cool. At least you're trying to push somebody. If I thought he'd get half the TV time that Danny Garcia got, I'd be like, okay, this makes sense. But it doesn't, because he's not, and the story is Adam Copeland versus Christian. So have Adam Copeland kill everybody till he gets to kick to Christian.
Yeah.
That's the difference between storytelling and I guess what AEW is trying to do, where everything's an exhibition match, where everybody's so good that every game is, it's like the NFL. If the world champion wins every game 35-32, they're still world champion. That's AEW. But in pro wrestling, sometimes you want your world champion to win 28-3 or 59-17 or whatever. I mean, you want some people to look dominant, and they just don't like doing that.
I agree. I think you do need to have, at least from time to time, a little bit of dominance in there, and it's a part of it's storytelling too. You need to have that factor in there, and it's just, I think it's clearly missing. But let's go on to the next segment here. It's Lexi Nair backstage. We have FTR, Daniel Garcia, in an interview, basically going over, can they coexist long enough tonight to deal with House of Black? Everyone seems to be on the same page here. I mean, let me tell you, I love Daniel Garcia, man. I think Daniel Garcia has so much potential, so much talent. I just think you need to find a spot for this square peg that they're trying to force in a round hole. And I don't know where Daniel Garcia can go right now. And he's getting lost in a shuffle. I'm glad he's getting some TV time. But what the hell do you do with Daniel Garcia right now?
I don't know how you can call someone lost in a shuffle that's on basically 3 out of 3 TV shows a week, 52 weeks a year. There is no real role for him. But all I have to say about this is, How is it possible the FTR keep getting shorter?
They are getting short. They are getting pretty short. I will say that.
I mean, could you guys all agree that they're like the best tag team in AEW?
I say hell to the yes.
Yeah,
Without question. I think they're one of the best tag teams in the world. Have been for the last 5 years. They're still top 3. Right now in the business, I would still say they're like 2.
Who's number 1?
but they're very short.
Who's
mean,
number 1?
Well, I'll probably they're probably number 1. They're probably number 1.
Who's your number 2?
They've been voted number 1. What, two years in a row by Pro Wrestling Illustrated?
Yeah, but who? Let me ask you this question: out of tag teams, who else is on the list? Like, who else would be on the list
At the moment?
Would you say the Hardys? Would you say the Young Bucks?
No. I mean, the Guns are fairly close. I would have said.
I'm gonna say the Ass Boys.
Yeah, Jay White and Juice Robinson. I mean, their match against FTR was spectacular, but there's not a lot of. I mean, I like Starks and Big Bill as a team, but I won't call them a great tag team. No. I agree. They're probably. I mean, the Usos are on the team right now. If they were, I'd say the Usos. There are other teams I like, but like I think Imperium's a really good tag team, but they're not being used as a tag team. So, I mean, I don't think anyone. It's like you're arguing, but I don't think anyone's arguing against you.
I mean, I think right now in all of pro wrestling, in any promotion, I think tag teams right now are just kind of. They're lost. There's just not a whole lot going on with tag teams.
Well, I mean, I don't watch, CML or AAA or any of the Japanese. I can't speak for that.
Mainstream. Your TNA, your AEW,
injuries,
WWE. I'm just not seeing any.
I think injuries took down the Lucha Brothers.
Well,
to me, they're one of my favorite tag teams.
Let's all agree on something though. The AEW has way too many titles. If it's Ring of Honor. They're merging all these titles. I'm gonna tell you this: I can't believe I've seen more Ring of Honor championships on Collision tonight than I had on a lot of shows. And frankly, what sucks about it is that Ring of Honor has its own show, and I don't mind them merging every once in a while Ring of Honor guys. But I keep feeling and keep seeing that you're getting more and more Ring of Honor people than you're getting AEW guys. And I could be wrong, but I mean, I feel like every other segment there's a Ring of Honor guy.
Well, I mean, I don't know who's in Ring of Honor versus AEW. I mean, I'm not sure who's signed to which. So that's part of it. But you're right. I mean, here's the real reason is that Tony Khan wants the AEW people to have their records much higher. So the Ring of Honor people are there to take L's, whether they have a title or not. Because who cares about the Ring of Honor, records? Because there's 8,000 people watching Ring of Honor, and that's probably overestimating it because they had the last time we got an announcement, they had 12,000 subscribers, and that was a year and a half ago. And things tend to go down, not up. But when you say there's too many titles and the titles get devalued, you're right. But it's not just Ring of Honor. There's a New Japan title on there. There's a AAA title that's on there plenty. There was a CMLL title recently on Rocky Romero that it was on. We once saw Shida come back with like 2 Japanese titles, like what I think was called Pure or something. I never heard of these promotions. So it's like and that's nice for those. The Good Brothers were on TV for a year with the Impact. They were on. I mean, and I suppose it's good exposure for those promotions, but none of them have really been elevated by it. So I don't just. I mean, again, I think we all agree with you.
I think there's the one comment up there about it's a hobby form, not a business. It's exactly what it is. But when you're a billionaire, if we had daddy's money, I'll run my own company as well. So it's just fitting there. And he's, to me, has always seen, which is his downfall, is take the approach of WCW. And WCW tried that in the 80s, in the late 80s and early 90s, with the cross promoting all the time with New Japan and all the other companies. And he's just trying to find something that sticks, and you said earlier, Evil Dose, about it's for the fans, right? That's the problem in wrestling in general to me, is that fans don't know what they want. I know you're going to say you do, but you really don't. And I say that because when this person does this or that person does that. It's never good enough. And when you put things in the fans' hands, fans will tell you, I want to know what happened at the end of Endgame before it came out. Wrestling got ruined. Nobody cares about who's dating who and all that other kind of nonsense. And those who do, that's the problem with the universe. I want to see the guys wrestle, and he's trying to just make it fit. It's a lot of stuff going on in AEW. That's for sure. And just hope that he gets it fixed before it's too late.
Yeah, but see, you're not almost. I mean, there's two types of pro wrestling fans. There's pro wrestling fans that enjoy the actual pro wrestling, and there's pro wrestling fans that actually enjoy the promos and the show aspect of it. You know,
I think they go hand in hand. I've always thought that.
Well,
there's a line for both. Wrestling is storyline first and foremost, no matter what anybody ever tells you.
Right.
Right. And then but then you want to see them perform in the ring as well. Right. So you can have a guy come out there, like, what was the guy with all the peacocks? Right. How the hell is that entertaining? But people completely pop for it. So who am I to judge? Right.
Right.
So he had some kind of a following, although I thought that was, not suitable for television that I want to see. But, hell, look, they got people out here scissoring each other. Right. There's people who do that. And I look back like, hey, what's worse, a scissor or me telling somebody to suck it? So who are we? It's just a wrestling for a different generation that doesn't appeal to us all. But there's a lot of people that like AEW and what they're doing because they're just so sick and tired of being sick and tired of WWE's product. They're willing to take anything right now down their throats. Literally.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, all right. So two things I have to say about that. Number one, there's actually three different fans. There also is fans that can't fucking let go of the past and bring back fucking Goldberg and Ric Flair and all these fucking bums that were wrestling in the 80s. Now they're like, well, I'd rather see them come back to WrestleMania than watch somebody else get a spot. Let's bring Goldberg back in for the ninth time. Come on, guys. Let's bring him back in.
I don't think fans ask for that, though.
No.
Bullshit, they don't.
They don't. That'd be promotions wanting to get their tickets sold. That's what people don't get about wrestling. Wrestling, first and foremost, outside of storyline, it's a business.
But exactly
if I can,
you said, though, they brought CM Punk back in, and it's like, people can't fucking forget about this fucking guy. This guy can't wrestle out of a bag of peanuts. I mean, he's a horrible fucking wrestler. Go watch him when he wrestled Dominic Mysterio. It was garbage. But people want to see CM Punk. It's like, bro, this is not CM Punk at 36. This is CM Punk at almost 50. And this guy cannot fucking go. Like, he cannot wrestle. And everybody's like, well, it's good for business. It's good for business because it's selling merchandise, selling shirts. People want to wear fucking CM Punk shirts. But it's not good for the ring. It's not good action. It sucks.
You have Danny Garcia replace CM Punk?
Oh, all fucking day.
I
put Pee Herman in there too.
There's a triangle with wrestling, and different fans have different lines as to, it's not all their three co-equal lines. There's storytelling, there's characters, there's in-ring action. And for some people want them all the lines to be equal. Others, probably you, Vinny, fall into that, and I'm sure Z does as well, is that the in-ring action is the longest line. For me, the storytelling and the characters are much longer lines, and it's more of an obelisk. The in-ring action is the shortest line. Sure, I don't want it to suck, but for me, it just needs to be adequate. And then when it's really good, I'm going to appreciate it more. But it's a triangle. But you were actually saying that. You were saying there's three different kinds of wrestling fans, and you were talking about one, and you sort of got lost in your rage about that one, but you never got to two or three.
Well, no, two or three is what they just said. They're what Mike Knox said.
I'm the they.
Okay, what Mike Knox said about and then Dan said about the two, and then I just added the three is the fans that can't let go of the past. They're the ones that are like, oh God, you remember when Bret Hart was out there, and God, wouldn't it be great to see Bret Hart?
I don't think that's the third category.
That contention is like less than 7%.
No, bro.
No one. Listen, Vin, this is what gets me sometimes, right, with you. You have social media like the rest of us all. We all have social media, whether we watch different ones or pay attention to different ones or not. It's kind of all the circle of the same bullshit, right? I have never, ever seen anybody say, ooh, I want Goldberg back in the ring. Ooh, I want Bret Hart now. If they happen to be advertised, they get excited about seeing them. But no one wants to see them in a square circle because we saw Shawn Michaels last time with his hair falling out. We see what Flair does. We see, like, even Jericho at this point in my opinion, his career should let it go, right? But the thing is that it's wrestling more than anything. It's like going to Universal Studios. It's nostalgic. It's never going to die because it's nostalgic. So you can turn the Goonies is 30-something years old. People still watch the Goonies, right?
Wow.
So as long as Goldberg is Goldberg and he's this big old dude who's next, people go for. I have people who actually tell me Goldberg was their favorite wrestler of all time, and I would go, in my opinion, what the fuck? But who am I? That's their guy.
Yeah, but what you just said, you answered my question, but you didn't even know you did. Okay, if you keep bringing it on, you keep chanting fucking Goldberg, you keep chanting Bret Hart, that's by bringing him back. Okay?
You make no sense in your own head. No one changed their name until they're there.
Shit, bro.
The fans do not ask for those guys, though. That's all I'm saying.
Dude,
when they're there, they change.
Goldberg comes on. You have 30,000 people chanting Goldberg in the fucking audience. 30,000.
Yes, they do. But guess
30,000.
what?
If you don't stop that,
30,000.
The team that you just talked about as being the best team in the world, half of what they do is reenact move for move other old wrestling matches. So don't tell me that the two can't coexist. I mean, FTR is famous for masturbatory Bret Hart and CM Punk matches. I mean, that's what they do. So the two
Midnight Express.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, guys. We are going to cut to a short commercial break. We'll see you in a minute.
We got George in the chat. He's right though. Briggs did dominate Mensa.
Mensa always gets dominated when he's fighting by his damn self.
He's
He's literally the punching bag in the metaphor, and I don't like saying that because I like watching him in the ring.
I do too. So I want to sit here and take a moment.
Since day one, I liked watching him in the ring. Before he became part of the metaphor, I liked watching him. I became a fan, especially during that 5-man ladder match for the NXT.
Right. I almost forgot that he was in that.
Belt.
Absolutely.
I love that. But now he's literally become the punching bag in metaphor whenever he has a solo match. With no star, it's fine because he runs away because he's a chicken shit champion. But Oro Mensah, he doesn't have the belt or anything. But every time he either goes into fight in Noam Dar's place or he fights by his damn self, he always turns into the punching bag. Why is he the one that's getting beaten up to put other people over? Why is it?
I agree. Right? No, I agree because Mensa is so great, and I wanted to take a moment because Briggs won, cool for him. But Aura is just, I really want a lot more for him. I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Oh,
right,
Jesus Christ!
We are back.
I love that commercial.
Can I get on that fucking show? I mean, that guy couldn't get a goddamn word in. Holy moly!
We'll take it up with HR.
Oh my God, that's gonna be a fun.
He is
show.
the head of HR.
So we're gonna get to our next segment. We have Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho taking an interview, getting ready for their battle tonight at Battle of the Belts in their big tag team title match in a street fight. Let me ask you, were you guys excited for this match?
No. I mean, I'm not a Guevara fan. Jericho, I sort of agree with Mike that the last few years he feels like he leeches onto whatever is, popular and is featured in everything. But a street fight always has fun potential. I mean, I was really worried that Tony was going to put the belts on them. One, to sort of, fight off the Jericho negativity that's going on. But two, the rumors are so loud that they're thunderclaps that Ricky Starks is basically out the door. So, But he's kept titles on people before thinking that it would induce them to stay because he, like a lot of wrestling fans, thinks the titles are real.
Right.
So can I just say, Knox, I got to tell you, as much as I agree with that Jericho is not, potentially up to par and can't let go. Jericho has everybody by the balls.
Vince, are you okay?
He could walk into the arena pissed as fuck and not care about anybody. They're still singing his song, and as much as he wants to break character and be like, "This is my goddamn song," people are singing. They're going to do it no matter if he's there or not. Like it happens in an empty arena. When we get to the arena at AEW, you hear them singing the song for no reason, and that's
Vince,
just
to your point from moments ago. In 30 years, when they play Judas, fans will still be singing Judas.
Yes,
and you'll be, and Vince of the future is be mad at Vince of right now.
No, I'm not mad about it because I'm not mad about it. I just think it's funny because it just. I mean, it's one of those things. People they're holding on.
They still do yes chants. They still do what? They still do
And
everything.
What is the worst?
Fans want, to me, the problem, WrestleMania 28, Miami, Raw after Mania, the first one, the fans took over the show, and from that point on, it has not let it go since. And I think that's been the problem.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I will tell you what's the worst, and everyone here should remember it. And it was 2020 during the COVID era. Silence is the worst. I will never criticize fans for cheering, hijacking shows, doing beach balloons. I don't give a shit. They can what all they want, because silence is the worst thing in wrestling. And we had that a few times tonight during the Collision show when there was noise at the other time. So it wasn't about the crowd or the arena or whatever. People just were not into stuff.
Funny point there you have, Evil Dose, because this next match, I think, is a prime example of silence.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Mogul Embassy, Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony against Lance Archer and the Righteous. What an odd pairing this is. Lance Archer and the Righteous.
Yeah, that was
this whole thing is odd because Lance Archer has been joined with Jake Roberts for what purpose? It's like a story that nobody's paying attention. At least commentary mentioned it. What did they do to get a Ring of Honor 6-man title match? And by the way, did anyone notice that if Nana doesn't do his dance, nobody gives 2 fucks about Nana? I mean, I don't know if it's Swerve. I don't know if it's the dance. It's the dance. Swerve don't need Nana. But he doesn't do his dance. He's not face Nana. Nothing. They don't boo him. They don't cheer him. Nothing. You could have heard me drop a spoon in there.
It wasn't because it was just Nana, and fans do like Nana.
I
have plenty of friends that were there tonight in the building. No one got cheered. Okay, half the building wasn't even there. So we're not going to blame an empty building with bad acoustics. If you're not noticed the difference between a WWE, and this is not mine, this is Nietzsche's. Okay, watching the show tonight, Z points out the difference in the production. I'm agreeing with it, so I'm sharing it. When WWE music hits, you hear it. It's loud. It's loud. It's not. And I don't hear people say, "Oh, they're piping every noise." They don't always pipe in noise. They don't have to. Okay, their production is just good enough. AEW's promote. Sometimes when those songs are coming on, I hear the crowd when they are popping, like Vinny just said, singing that song louder than fucking the music's playing, singing the song.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not Nana. It's where they are. It's the production that you can't hear the little bit of people that are there, and they don't bring them down close enough to have them close it off to be a more louder, scene. And they try their best to do that. But
it's not about Nana. It's just that Nana usually gets a big reaction, but nothing here got a reaction. But I'm going to tell you that it wasn't just the arena, because the Hangman Page versus JD Drake match was loud as hell. Dustin, it got loud at the end. And during the 6-man match, it got loud as hell. And
we're jumping a little far ahead here.
I understand, but I'm just pointing out that during this 3-hour episode, there were parts where the crowd was into it, and there were parts where they were dead silent. So I agree, they were dead silent. I'm not trying to say Nana sucks. I'm just saying that Nana gets a pop when he does the dance.
Do you believe? And I'm kind of on the fence with these pictures. Do you believe that a lot of these fans will take pictures of, like, let's just say they're at Collision, and they'll take pictures and they'll put on the internet and go, look, there's no fans there. But I feel like these pictures are like before the actual goddamn show starts. Like,
nah, Vince, I've been to some Dynamites where they're struggling. They're and they only have maybe 5 sections that they sold, and you have a whole arena that is completely empty.
I've listened, and I get that. I've been to three shows, and I've not experienced that.
Well, because you've been to it in an arena that is conducive to what AEW is doing. They are not a large household promotion. They're a big promotion, but they are still going to be a second-rate promotion to WWE. And that's not a knock against AEW. AEW is 5 years old. WWE is 50 years old. There's a major difference when you're comparing a infant product to an adult, well-established, well-oiled, multi-billion-dollar machine. It's day and night, and you cannot compare the two. It's impossible.
But you could mitigate it if you simply rented out 45-seat buildings.
Yeah, go to a smaller venue. You'll have your sound.
So whoever was doing that should be fired, and I believe they were and replaced. So we'll see. That's
well, no. To answer Vince's question. Shout out to my homie Super Black Gamer Bros on Instagram. In the main event, half the building's empty. Yeah. Fans don't do it to get like this ain't like 8 years ago on Twitter where you check that picture, everybody's going to follow you now. Everybody gets the same stuff. Right. Now it's empty there, and to all credit, there's times WWE buildings are empty and have been, that way. They couldn't sell out that SummerSlam, right? But how big was that stadium? And Evo Dole said it best. Like what made ECW sound great, they rented out small arenas,
right?
And so you can get 6,000, 7,000 people in there that are rabid fans and enjoy the product.
Right. And I mean, if you look at what AEW does best, at least in Florida, they're going to UCF. UCF can house maybe 10,000, but the way that you structure it and everything, you could still get 5,000-6,000 and it looks fantastic. It looks totally full. You can go to the Ocean Center in Daytona, which is basically a convention center, and you could pack that thing and people are going to show up for it. They're not huge places. You're not going to go to the Kia Center and sell it out. You're not going to go to the Kaseya Center in Miami and sell it out. They're not big enough yet. A huge problem with AEW right now is they do not market well. They're marketing. You don't even know they're coming half the time unless you're watching the product. And then it's not even on television or on the radio or anything until like a week or two before it's going to be here. It just there needs to be better things done to alert you to them traveling and being in your city, and they'll figure it out. They'll get better at it, and it'll happen in time. But these are a lot of the reasons that they're falling apart right now.
I just hope it doesn't fall apart to where they're not there, because I can't take just one promotion that's owned by a multi-billion-dollar company that wants to now cross-brand UFC and WWE.
What's up, Derek? You know what I think we should do? I think we should talk more about match number 2 and hour number 1 of a 3-hour show. Or this show's going to go 3 hours.
So, we're now going to Lexi Nair again, having another interview. She's gotten a ton of time tonight. I mean, holy crap. How many interviews can you give?
The more the better. She's fabulous to look at.
She's great to look at. So Preston Vance all of a sudden apparently is a face now. I don't know when this happened. Does anybody have any idea when Preston Vance became a face?
This past weekend, because Brody -1 put him. He's his favorite wrestler and put him in a match. By the way, the Ring of Honor 6-man champions defeated the Righteous and Lance Storm in that match. In a match that went too long, it was very clumsy and klutzy. But yeah, it was this past weekend when he was in the 8-man tag match that Brody Lee Jr. Booked. He still is wearing something that says La Facción, but of course Rush has a torn hamstring, and Andrade said adios. So, and I don't know what that means for Jalistica. So there probably is no more La Facción, but he still has Jose the assistant with him. So yay.
I hear you.
But it ain't going to be Amazon Prime. I guarantee you. Wrestling cannot go to a niche audience. They need to be as broad. Maybe second-day rights.
I don't know about that. Amazon Prime, it might be a good idea. I don't think it's going there either. I just think they're already on a streaming service. What was Peacock? You know what I mean? So Amazon Prime has a lot more people who have Prime than they have Peacock.
Actually, no, they don't. But they do.
I'll check that again right now. But I guarantee that Amazon Prime has more than Peacock subscribers and everything included.
I would go with that too.
I don't think
it's not even close.
I don't want to swear to it, but I don't think so, because Thurston recently did the rundown, and Amazon.
I don't know who Thurston is. Thurston Howard III?
No, Howard. That's Brent Thurston from Wrestling. Anyway, I don't think that but WWE isn't on Peacock. Their PLEs are on Peacock, so. That's different, and by the way, Peacock comes with Comcast, and in Australia comes with Sky. I mean, it's like $2.99 a month for me. It's like nothing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So let's now jump to the next match, we had Dustin Rhodes against Willie Mack.
Two kids who just needed an opportunity.
I'm sorry?
Two kids who just needed an opportunity.
I agree. They really did. They're young. They're up and coming. They could use this time.
Who?
Dustin Rhodes and Willie Mack.
Dustin Rhodes in no time. He's a fucking legend.
What? Huh? Oh,
just for the record, I'm sorry. Peacock has 30 million. Amazon Prime has 200 million.
That's what I would have gone with. Yep.
Well, Willie Mack international versus domestically. Maybe it was just
they're not using Dustin the right way because Dustin's coming down. His career's coming to a wind.
Right. I mean, Dustin should be enhancement talent at this point, and for whatever
he should have lost that match.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
This match didn't need to be on TV. Is sort of my point. I was joking about two youngsters. I mean, Willie Mack doesn't even work for AEW. I'm not sure if he works for Ring of Honor. He's appearance talent, and Dustin doesn't need to be in any featured match ever. He should be working with the young guys and getting them better on dark matches. But this match happened. The crowd was dead, but at the end, when Dustin hit his finisher, the crowd came alive. I mean, and that's when I noticed, oh wow, it isn't the arena; it's what's been happening up until now because I can hear them.
Yep, I agree. Did anybody really have anything notable to say about Dustin Rhodes and Willie Mack?
Yes, I did. I think it's been great to see Dustin the last couple times, once on Dynamite, once on Collision, and I'm not going to say he's the best. He's slowing down, but when you have a guy that's played a character so long in WWE that was so iconic, and then he comes over here and then he's half regular face, half painted, kind of a throwback to Goldust.
Right.
And when he came in, they used him a lot, but not using him as much as they are now. But it's still cool to kind of see like a legend like him. He should have put over or Willie Mack. He should have put Willie Mack over, and they should have pushed him. But Willie Mack is on MLW, so I'm surprised they used him.
So, Vinny, is that you holding on to the past?
I know. I'm with Vinny on this one. I think Dustin Rhodes can still go. At his age, I thought the match was actually really well paced. Every time he does the Canadian story, I hate it because he's from Georgia, so I don't think he should do that move. But overall, I thought it was a good match. He still does a really good scoop power slam, and he's still gonna be liked forever and forever. He will have a job getting appearances until the day he dies.
Yeah, he's a legend.
He's a superstar legend, first ballot Hall of Famer.
I agree. What was that one gimmick that he had in WCW that was so short-lived? It was
Black Rain.
Yeah, he had like that's what it was.
He was like that knockoff Undertaker.
Yeah, he was also seven for a very short amount of time as well.
Yeah, seven.
Yeah, but you don't remember he held WCW up for that character. Like he took it all off and said, "I'm not doing this shit no more," and he kind of walked out like, "If you're not going to do nothing else, like I'm done."
Right.
I've been a fan of Dustin since he was the Natural.
What was it?
NWA.
No,
when he first came in.
Yeah. Well,
people like Sam Houston. You know what I mean? Those kind of guys. I don't know why. Listen, Barry Windham is always going to be in my top 25 of my favorites list.
Not Barry Windham, Kendall Windham.
But I'm saying I like Barry Windham, but and that's why I like Mr. Page so much too. I think he's
Did you know that Sam Houston and Jake Roberts are brothers?
Half brothers. Yeah, their father has a lawsuit. None of them get. Rockin' Robin is also their sister. None of them speak basically.
It's Rockin' Robin. Tweet.
All right, so moving on, we had the Bullet Club Gold. They are going to be challenging the Mogul Embassy next week for the Ring of Honor.
The Mogul Embassy challenged them in a move that makes absolutely no sense in a match that's 4 days away, giving them a title shot for their titles for no apparent reason other than the Bullet Club Gold has nothing else to do, so they're going to give them these useless titles.
They need something. And I mean, I don't know that Mogul Embassy has done shit with these 6-man titles at this point.
They haven't. Actually, the Devil's crew and the Acclaim will probably be the Giant Smiles Fest, but
Could be.
whatever.
Could be. So then now we have Dustin Rhodes. He was backstage doing his little segment. Not too happy. Gets interrupted by Christian Cage. This leads to Kill Switch. Getting some insults. Get some Dusty Rhodes comments in there that were a little right to the point by Christian Cage. Jeff, go ahead. Which one is your favorite Dusty line from Christian?
Well, he's like, if only your dead father were here to see this.
Oh shit!
Christian Cage. The whole thing is about fathers being dead. That's the gimmick he created. I mean,
That's it.
And it hits every time. I'm a little bit tired of the Dusty being mentioned all the time. It's like everyone goes like this when they're on the second rope, but it is what it is. That's Christian's thing. Dustin is naturally salty, so whatever.
So yeah, we're gonna get a Dustin Rhodes against Christian Cage TNT title match on Dynamite. I mean, I can't get overly excited about this. This just seems like more of a redundant WWE overkill match that just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It's two golden oldies, and why not put a younger talent in that spot and give them the TV time?
It's just like
they don't have a
said,
one-match winning streak.
It's just like what Jeff said last week when we talked about Dynamite. He said none of the matches on Dynamite made sense because didn't you say that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what it is. It's another match that doesn't make sense. It's hey, let's give him a title shot and say that he tried to go for the belt.
Here we go. Listen, can we please just have more beef bowl sponsors in wrestling? Shanghai noodles and sirloin is the best snack for those looking to go on the attack. That right there, I can get on board with, guys.
Yeah, Unpopular View is proudly sponsored by Ramen Hearty Noodles.
Ramen Hearty Noodles, snap into a Slim Jim.
Right, chunky soup. We're all about it. Speaking of chunky soup and talking about good cook, and didn't we have someone who cooks from your mama's kitchen or something coming up soon?
A little bit of red velvet.
A little bit of red velvet, not enough.
Bit of red velvet. We do. She's coming up soon, but first we got to get to the Hangman Adam Page against JD Drake match. Let me tell you, man, this match just I don't want to be disrespectful to talent, but I don't know that JD Drake.
Please do.
I don't think JD Drake belongs in the same ring as Hangman.
Absolutely.
They do not whatsoever.
Disagree. He looks like shit, but he's a good wrestler. This to me was the match of the night to this point, and arguably for the entire night. This match banged. For those kids who like bangers, this was a banger. This was like a 1983 NWA match where you'd have not Bulldog Sawyer, you'd have his brother Matt Sawyer, fighting Magnum TA or whatever. But this was a slobber knocker, and I thought this was a great match, and the crowd was loud as shit the entire time for it. This was some cowboy shit.
They were into it. And it was pleasantly surprising, despite the fact that I would never pair these two together. Vince, I know you got to have something. I see your eyes just burning holes over there.
I don't know why you say JD Drake is a great wrestler. Like if he was so good, why don't they use him more?
He's in the workhorseman, dude. You can't just call yourself a workhorseman and not be good.
No, but I'm just. But you guys are right. He didn't deserve to be in the same ring, Adam Page. And I know there's a couple people on the popular reviews roster that doesn't like Adam Page, and that's fine. But you can't. You listen. Somebody said something to me last week saying that. Oh God, who's the U.S. title's name? What's his name? Logan Paul. You can do a flip over the rope. Okay, yeah. But here's the thing. When you do a flip over the rope, you have to know how to somehow plant your feet on the fucking mat and make it look so smooth before you clothesline somebody. And Adam Page has that down to a T.
Yep.
Well, it's his finisher. He better. You're talking about Dutch from the Rices when he went over the top rope?
Huh?
I'm a add-on Page Mark.
Yeah,
I think he's a great wrestler.
but let's not. Why are we comparing him to Logan Paul? Logan
because
Paul's buckshot lariat is fucking perfect. And listen, Logan Paul is the epitome of what wrestling fans hate. They hate that this guy did not grow up a wrestling fan, and he got it that fast. He got the charisma and he got the moves because he's athletic. I don't know, but hey, great takes time. This man has not been in the ring more than, I don't know, 20 matches.
Yep.
Okay. And he has put on some of the best matches in those 20 matches. And taking nothing from Hangman Page at all. Like I said, Hangman Page, me dropped the ball after the Ring of Honor situation. And he signed with AEW. When he re-signed with AEW, I said he dropped the ball. He's too big of a star, in my opinion, for AEW. He is that damn good to me. But let's not compare him to Logan Paul just yet, because it's to me what he has right now needs to be. We need to see how AJ had to evolve in TNA. And that's what Adam Page needs. He needs to take that next step, which, again, that comes from booking, right? He, to me, should be booked more in that title picture back where he was. I don't know why he fell so far from grace in that. I'm a big fan of him. But this match, I'm with you, Evil Dose. It was surprisingly good. I'm watching this fat slob dude, and he did that moonsault, and I was like, damn. Yeah. It was entertaining.
Logan Paul is the real natural. That's number one. Number two,
I call him the real megastar.
Ooh, that's a good one. Adam Page is someone who would benefit from a Prince Nana being with him and the dance for people to cheer. Now that he doesn't have a talker. He's got no natural charisma. Adam Page just looks good. And by the way, I saw him at Starrcast 19. Like he's like, you know how a lot of TV people, they're even prettier in person. He's that. He's prettier in person. And I know I'm calling a man pretty. But
listen, you see that beard, that hair? He gets the ladies.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. He just is not a good promo and not a good talk. It kills his charisma. But like maybe Nana's not the best, but like Stokely Hathaway, who's a great talker. Even Jake Roberts is too tall, but it doesn't matter in AEW. He could do it anyway. Point is, I thought this match overperformed, but I just want to say Logan Paul's the real natural to see if Vinny's head would explode.
I do think a simple fix for Adam Page would be less promo time. Do a harder, meaner, 1 or like 30-second, 2-minute kind of little promo. And I think that'll get your point across a lot faster and better. And just go and perform in the ring. And that's all you really need out of Adam Page. And it can build him better. And I think at least from last week to now, I'm more invested in seeing what Adam Page does next.
Because he's not talking and he's fine. You know who it just hit me. Don Callis would be the perfect manager for him.
He would be a good one.
Listen, I'm going to go back to that. You know what? Listen, you know why Logan Paul to you guys is so good? Let me tell you why.
Oh, God, to us.
Yeah, tell me.
Let me tell you why.
Do I have two eyes?
The man didn't have any matches coming up to when he came into the WWE, okay? He trained for a straight, 4 or 5 months before he signed with WWE.
4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm. He was there every single day, training with like Seth Rollins, people doing about moonsaults and all that. And so that's probably why he's as good with his charisma. Plus, the guy's skinny, okay? You don't see a fat guy. You don't see a fat guy do what he did at Royal Rumble with fucking Ricochet when they both collided in the air. That doesn't happen. Happen.
Skinny's Darby Allin.
Yeah.
Logan Paul's like 6'4", 235 pounds of muscle. First of all,
he's still skinny though.
All right, guys, let's keep it to AEW.
He's not as good as you guys think he is. He really isn't.
All right, we're keeping it to AEW. We're going to talk about the talent AEW actually does have.
Talking about things that are not as good as you think they are. AEW.
Hangman Page. Oh, stop it. I didn't even mention that. You messed me up. Go ahead, Dan the Man. I like Adam Page, though.
I love Adam Page. I do. So let's dive into. She's my personal favorite. I think she's arguably the best women's wrestler in the world.
Red Velvet?
Top 5. Red Velvet, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my wife might hear me say some things about this kind of
Velvet time.
Let's get into the virtuosa, Deonna Purrazzo. I thought Purrazzo and Velvet, they had a pretty decent little bout. Velvet is underrated. Velvet could really use some more TV time. She's really kind of fallen off TV, which has kind of sucked. And I think the whole women's division really has. But I feel there's more.
Justice for Layla Gray.
Layla Gray.
Justice for her.
What even happened to Layla Gray?
I don't know. The baddies got unbadded.
So it got rough. It got rough, and that was dropped real quick.
I want my goodies back.
Yeah, but dude, she got hurt. That's why everything fell apart.
I think that. All right.
I love the finish. I love the finish of this match, though.
Yeah,
for how many months? She was out. She was hurt.
She doesn't need to wrestle. But this match, the crowd was silent. I think the Deonna Purrazzo excitement lasted exactly 1 week because she got no reaction. The crowd was not excited, and whatever excitement there was ended the moment she took off her robe and they realized, wow, she looks like my mom.
Oh, I don't know about all that now.
I mean, she's thick.
There will not be women shaming around here of body shaming because I guarantee if you take off your shirt, big guy, okay, let's all take off our shirts and the ratings will go up, and not because we are looking like Logan Paul. Okay.
I'm not a professional athlete.
They're going to go up because I'm eating Vinny's turkey and his cheesesteaks from the sponsors restaurants that should be sponsoring Unpopular Review. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm also 55, but I'm not a professional athlete, and I'm not a professional in show business for an aesthetic business. Listen, you're telling me I can't criticize a quarterback for their bad spiral because I can't throw a spiral. Of course I can't. But sports radio was built on that entire industry. So was Mystery Science Theater. So I hear your criticism. I just reject it. But
no, I just think that men shouldn't objectify women's bodies. That's my point. You don't
objectify women's bodies, objectify men's bodies. It's an aesthetics business.
It's an aesthetics business. I would somewhat mostly agree with you on that. But I'm just saying I wouldn't bring it up. I mean, unless you're like, that's all.
Well, you don't
I think there's definitely a right way to say things and a wrong way to say things. And I think maybe saying Gianna doesn't look the part is one. You should say
she's aesthetically not pleasing, not, that's
all. I don't like the way people have to speak now. I would rather speak like a human being. And if that makes me old in touch, that's because I'm old and out of touch.
Listen, did you tell her to her face she looks like your mom?
No, because to his face he would want to get on his knees.
I don't see any issues with Deonna Purrazzo. I think she's a beautiful woman.
I agree.
There's plenty of larger women that don't get the flack that you're giving Deonna Purrazzo right now that are in pro wrestling.
But they're supposed to be larger. Like Nia Jax is supposed to be a monster. She's supposed to be more like King Kong Bundy or Big Bubba Rogers, Bossman. All right,
I think Nia Jax.
Patty, I admit it. We can move on. If the three of you don't agree, it's fine. Like three of us think Logan Paul's great. He doesn't. Move on. It's fine.
Just get off my back.
Get off of my back.
She could be taking the Jericho route.
What's the Jericho route?
Oh, jeez.
Come here and see how clean y'all. That kind of route. But I did like the match though. I thought the match was really, really good. I think Red Velvet is underrated as well. I miss her with Kiera Hogan. I like when they were together. When they were going through that, I thought that should have lasted a little bit longer. Again, injuries in wrestling, and especially in AEW, because their roster is just really too big. I think that's the issue. I think they should downsize if they have all these shows. I like the split they've had between the shows. But Purrazzo's there, and they want her to be a force. And so she has to pick up the victory. Sometimes I just feel it's bad that other girls who were there already don't get that shine. So for Tony, everybody's a toy.
Yep.
It's like, who was the hottest thing? Like Vinny just said it, right? Like how many times like Keith Lee came in, Big Pop, now they're not, right? You don't know how to gear up for AEW because they're only giving you these people, and then everybody else just get thrown in there here and there, and you get lost in the shuffle because there's just too many people.
All right, guys, we're gonna cut to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
I think Nia Jax is a credible heel enough to face Bianca Belair.
But Nia's a raw talent.
Nia's a raw talent, which is why you have her win the Royal Rumble.
You think Nia is going to win the Royal
Rumble? Nia's my pick.
You out of your fucking mind.
Nia's my pick. I think Becky wins the Elimination Chamber. Have her win the Elimination Chamber. Have Nia win the Royal Rumble.
I'm learning all kinds of things in 2024, and it's only like day 6. I've been watching Cat Williams. I learned that you can get a contact high from StreamYard because that's obviously what has happened to executive consultants here is he's got a contact high from Willie's stash. Nia Jax is winning the Royal Rumble. You out of your fucking mind.
If it's not Nia Jax, it's going to be Naomi. That's the way you book it. There's no woman on that SmackDown roster who is credible enough to be in a WrestleMania main event picture with Bianca Belair. Nobody's checking to see Bayley and Bianca Belair for the 14,000th time.
I don't agree with that. I think Sasha Banks would have a better choice. I mean, a better chance at winning the Royal Rumble if she came back, because the pop would be bigger for her than it would be Naomi.
Granted, you are correct, but Sasha and Bianca Belair for a WrestleMania rematch will be huge. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to be Bayley's going to get turned on by Damage Control, right?
Right, but
exactly.
that's what I said. Like
the main event match.
Did you say they're going to face him at the Rumble or at Mania?
I think they're going to wrestle on Mania. I think it's going to be Sasha and Bayley versus the Kabuki Warriors, because the Kabuki Warriors already made their intentions clear. They want to win the tag team championship. That's why Piper Niven and Chelsea Green lost the titles to a big face tag team, so they could drop the title. They're transitional.
Right.
It's just get them over. They're going to win, and then they're going to transfer the tag team titles. They're going to win those titles, and then they're going to kick Bayley out because Bayley failed to beat. When that
I'm
happens,
so fucking lost with your rhetoric. I'm lost.
who me?
You convoluted this storyline worse than Tony Khan could do it. What are you talking about?
Writes itself.
Stop it. It doesn't write itself. This is what's going to happen. Dakota Kai is going to kick Bayley out of Damage Control. The main event's going to be Io Sky versus Bayley for the title. That's not if Sasha is not involved. If Sasha's involved, then it changes everything. It's not going to happen. So, listen, it is what it is. Stop trying to make Nia Jax a Royal Rumble champion. Stop it.
Nia Jax should win the Royal Rumble. She deserves it. She's been back. She's been
And
dominant.
guess what? I should win Lotto, but guess what? That shit don't happen either.
You should win Lotto.
Wow.
Remember, like and subscribe to all and turn your notifications on so that you never miss an unpopular review show.
Absolutely. Please like and subscribe. We have, even if you're not a fan of AEW, we have plenty of content. We have all WWE covered. We have Raw, we have SmackDown, we have pay-per-views, we have NXT. We got plenty of pro wrestling content to satisfy and whet all the beaks out there for whatever your hearts may desire.
Even you NWA fans, because that's where Mike Knox went. He went to go help Trevor Murdoch, his tag team partner.
Absolutely. Jeez. So, all right. So this next match, I got a little bit of a beef right here because Hook is out
I
here.
have one best comment to make on this one. It's exactly the same comments as the opening match. If you were going to make Deanna the next big thing on a collision course with Toni Storm, her first match should not be a 13-minute competitive match with Velvet Sky, or Red Velvet rather, who, with all due respect, has not positioned as anything other than basically a jobette for the last few months, and before that, for the last year, she wasn't positioned at all.
Yeah. Fair. Vince, I see you standing up over there. I know that means that something serious is about to go down.
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay. All right. So I don't even know who the hell Hook wrestled.
I do. He's KP. He's Allison Kay's cousin. He was on Impact for a while, and he was the tag team partner with Fallah Bah. It was actually pretty funny. Then he got hurt and he couldn't wrestle, and he's like a producer or something with AEW. He's worked security a couple times there, and I think they just wanted to show Hook with a bigger guy because he's going against Samoa Joe and beating a bigger guy, but nobody in commentary told that story. That's why they dusted this guy off and put him in there.
Right. Yeah. There's some issues here. And I think that they're missing a lot of the marks with telling the storylines that are being told. Because if you're not watching on a weekly basis, if you're missing little bits and pieces, I feel you're missing the grand story. And it's hard to just pick up at that point.
Yeah.
But
and that's what commentary is supposed to do. They're supposed to narrate. They're the Greek chorus.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing where Tony Schiavone really excels at is he can really kind of still tell multiple stories on commentary. And I mean, even JR has really lost a few steps, but JR could still go out and he can call a match or two.
Oh, for sure.
And, I mean, I don't want to hear him for 2 hours, but I could listen to the guy for a couple matches, and I think it would be fine.
Let him do the main events for both shows. The last 25 minutes of Collision and the last whatever it is for Battle of the Belts.
Absolutely.
And that's he definitely elevates the game, and he remembers the stories, and he puts things over. And even when he makes mistakes, who cares? It's JR.
It's JR. It's a legend. No one does. But so we are going to get Samoa Joe and Hook on Wednesday night. I'm presuming it's for the AEW title.
Oh, it is.
There we go. There we go. So we're getting an AEW championship match on Wednesday night at Dynamite. Can't say that I'm super excited for that. But I mean, how believable is Hook and Samoa Joe?
Not believable at all, but they'll make a show of it because they have to, which again I think is a mistake with Samoa Joe. You want to make this killer because there's all these vultures circling around him now. You got Swerve, you got Hangman Page, and you got the Devil's Crew because the Devil is still on crutches. Yep. And somewhere in the background, we don't know where he is. We don't mention his name, is MJF and whoever else. But we got Hook instead. They sent Hook.
You already know how I think about Hook. I don't think Hook's a great wrestler. And
it's face on face. I mean, they're both positioned as faces, and they're both faces with the crowd, however you position them anyway. So it's one of those things that doesn't make sense. And Hook isn't a good wrestler, but he can execute moves, but he can't work. He can't do the dance. Samoa Joe can, but he's also slow. So this is going to be a very slow, methodical, and at times has the potential to be very awkward when they're trying to utilize the ring, or it's going to be a very quick squash match, but they're just not going to do the Hook.
Agreed. So now we're getting time for the main event here. We have the House of Black and FTR and Daniel Garcia. This match was okay.
Yeah.
It could have been better, could have been worse. Wasn't overly impressed or thrilled by it, but I do think there's a lot of good talent in that ring. I just think that this kind of felt pointless. I do understand FTR and the House of Black are having their beef, but I'm not totally sure how Daniel Garcia belongs in this feud.
I don't either. And as I said, I think the match was fine. I mean, the first half was a little bit dull, but it's sped up, which is not unusual with House of Black matches. But if the story was, can they coexist? And they did basically coexist, but still lost. I mean, there was no dissension. There was no confusion. The big story seemed to be that Matt Maynard was concerned for Daniel Garcia's well-being. Well, that's nothing new. And Garcia is a face and Maynard's a heel. By the way, Maynard should never wrestle. He should always be in commentary. He's actually really good at commentary. He's very entertaining. And 2.0, really. As a tag team, they're not important. Every time they're on TV, you could be seen the Lucha Brothers or FTR, the Guns, or any number of teams otherwise. But I don't have any complaints. But I was pleasantly surprised that House of Black won. But they were trios champions, so they got their win back. But like you, I just didn't see the point of the pairing with Daniel Garcia, only to have them both coexist and lose. It was strange.
No sense.
And no Julia Hart, and we know she's there on the card. I get it, preparing for her match, but she's a witch with spooky stuff. So isn't being with them and doing spooky stuff her preparation?
We haven't seen Julia Hart really with the House of Black recently.
Not much, but Brody King came out with her a couple times. It is they. I think they are slowly. I don't know if it's purposely or just because of negligence, but they seem to be making her own thing because, credit to AEW, they've actually done women's stories the last 6 or 7 months, and she's integral to a bunch of them. Whatever's going on with Dark Cloud Sky and Willow and Chris Statlander, and now with Anna Jay, it's all sort of hovering around Julia Hart.
And I mean, you can actually say this is a true homegrown star talent. Julia Hart, I mean, when she started off, she was very bland, basic, you were just looking at her and there's some raw potential, but they really found a niche for her, and she really went above and beyond, at least the tag team she was put in, which, let's be honest, I think a lot of people thought that tag team was going to be bigger. And if you put Julia Hart and the Varsity Blondes, you were going to say the Varsity Blondes are probably going to go further than Julia Hart was. And to see the roles totally reversed, it's surprising. It's a welcoming surprise to see what they've done. And Julia Hart truly is a star at this point.
I already said, like, she's done great. Her character work has been great. Her character work is much better than her wrestling. Her wrestling is
absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, and no complaints. I mean, there's no reason Anna Jay should. I mean, I'm not sure if Anna Jay is a heel or a face either. I'm not sure if she's with the XJS or not. I mean, it's like, 1 week they're totally separate, the next week they're being interviewed together. So, another one of these things where there's, Will Washington was supposed to be the continuity manager, and despite his tweet this week that one of the most respected people in wrestling history told him he was doing a great job and he feels great about it. Well, yeah. I may not be one of the most respected people on Popular Review, but Will Washington, you suck at continuity if that's your job, because there is almost no continuity in AEW.
Vince.
I could have went with or without this match. I mean, it had good spots. There was a potential for this match to go, solid, but at the end they executed what they wanted to get done. But again, I'm just, you have to understand, I'm so old school when it comes to wrestling. Like, I'm not in with the 6-man tag titles or the trios tag titles, or like, we didn't have that growing up. We had what, 4 or 6-man Survivor Series elimination matches is what we had, which we don't ever really get anymore. If it is, it's like one match. So I could have went without this match.
I agree.
Nothing else to say, friends.
No. So that concludes Collision. We're going to get right into Battle of the Belts here. Battle of the Belts. This just seemed very rushed.
Thrown together.
It did. It starts off with that big tag team title street fight. Jericho and Guevara against Starks and Big Bill. And I think Big Bill is one of the stupidest names that you can possibly have in pro wrestling. Why that he's still Big Bill, I don't understand. But
he's very
big
big
Cass.
In his name is Bill.
Yeah. But Big Bill versus Big Cass, Big Cass kind of rolls off the tongue. Big Bill is just
a porn star.
Yeah. There you go.
See,
there you go.
When people speak the way you just need to speak naturally, sometimes it's easier.
It is. Big Bill sounds like shit. So, yes, it sounds like a Pornhub star, and I don't see the purpose in the name. But regardless to the fact, we had a very interesting match, I would say, here for the tag titles. I always enjoy street fights. I felt this is a little redundant, as you just had a Texas Tornado tag match on the show prior, Dynamite on Wednesday night, which is technically one and the same.
Yeah.
So why you decided to have 2 identical matches makes 0 sense to me. And it's basically like saying we're going to have a Hell in a Cell match and next week have a steel cage match. Why would you do that?
Tony Khan's not a good booker, but like you said, it's an interesting match. They use the props and they use the environment around them. I felt bad for the wrestlers. I think it's stupid to book a street fight in winter, even if you're in Norfolk. And I think that just shows you Tony Khan being clueless, because Norfolk, Virginia is not the deep South. And regardless, you can always have a deep freeze. They're just lucky that they were in Norfolk, Virginia, not like Des Moines or Kansas City or Buffalo or whatever. I think it's so there was probably only 32 degrees there as opposed to minus 10 degrees. Nevertheless, with the wind and everything, that's like, you could have called an audible. This was not a heavily anticipated match. You could have just made that a anything goes death match in the match. But basically, this match you had basically the Don Callis family at the very end got involved. Takeshita hit Jericho with a kendo stick, allowing Big Bill to do a not very good looking power slam through the table. Looked like Big Bill knocked himself out. I actually thought that this was going to be a spot where Jericho and was going to win, because they were both out flat, but Jericho's boot was on top of Big Bill. I thought that technically they were going to count, but that wasn't. And then Sammy Guevara did put his body on the line. He climbed up a ridiculous amount and did one of those, cliff diving things, and he basically flopped backwards, and the shot sort of blew up. A Powerhouse Hobbs pulled his former rival Ricky Starks out of the way, and Sammy Guevara went straight through the hell box, and Ricky Starks climbed on, got the 1, 2, 3, and the they don't have a name, the best damn tag team in wrestling, period, or whatever they call themselves, retain their tag team belts. But I thought it was okay, but I didn't think it needed to be like a close to a half-hour match.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair point right there.
But I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's like Cody Nakamura. I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't think it was great.
Right. That's fair. Vince, you have anything further you want to add on that?
No, again, they could have gone without this match. I mean, I really enjoyed the Stampede matches in the empty arenas because I feel like there's way more to go. There's way more props. So them just staying around where they were, I mean, there was a cool spot with the car, but I mean, obviously, when they put a car that looks like it's old or doesn't look like expensive, that's a car that they just either picked up real cheap or somebody donated it for them to destroy it.
I'm sorry. Best part of this whole match was Rhett Titus as security, and they go and I thought that Nigel McGuinness was making a joke saying that's Rhett Titus's car, and then Rhett Titus went, "That's my car."
Yeah.
They put him right through the windshield and destroy that poor 17-year-old Hyundai Drifter or whatever it was.
That's pretty great. So, Jericho and Guevara do lose the match. Big Bill and Starks do retain. I'm guessing this feud is not over yet, and we're going to continue this into probably Revolution.
But I think it bears mentioning, and listen, I know that Kenny got diverticulitis in this, et cetera, but this whole thing was built. You built the Don Callis family. Don Callis turned on Kenny Omega. You had the Bucks lose the match to Jericho and Omega so they could get a title, to get the title shot. And then you have an 8-man because Jericho doesn't quite do it. Guevara turned on Jericho, then turned back again on the usual, they didn't call me, but he did. And then they have to win a match to get the title match that Jericho already had, or maybe Jericho was on the fence of whether you can trust Guevara or not, though I don't think so. And then they finally have the match and they lose. So I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of booking and a lot of storytelling to end in, and I know the story changed along the way. It's sort of like if you had Lord of the Rings, but Frodo got killed at the beginning of movie 2, or at the end of movie 1, and Samwise Gamgee decided he had another Hobbit friend to go with him. But I don't know. This it took a lot for this, which I'm a continuity guy, as you can see, and I expect very little in professional wrestling. But continuity, I would like that to be one of them, and I don't know. It was a lot for sort of this, which felt a little bit like a gas bubble.
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you there. I'm with you. So, our next match, we had the wonderful homegrown built Julia Hart, who is now in this. What would you say her gimmick is now? Is she a witch? Is she a supernatural character? Is she just this psychotic cult?
I think she has a Bray Wyatt Undertaker look.
I think I would say she's more of a witch.
A witch, okay.
I would say she's a witch, and she has a mist that its powers seem to be inconsistent, but she rolled with that during one of the media scrums and says, the different people take the mist different ways, and sometimes it's fast and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it doesn't take it all. It depends on your resistance. So, okay. Listen, she came up with something. It actually makes sense, and it also helps with inconsistent booking. So, okay.
Yeah, I agree. So, and then Anna Jay, to me, I mean, I feel like, where has she been? I feel she's the one that just kind of, she'll pop up from time to time. They have her in this weird little outcast JAS, you know, reject kind of thing, and it's floundering to me. It's floundering, and Anna Jay has a lot of potential. I don't think she's fantastic in the ring, but I don't think she's any better or worse than Julia Hart when it comes to in-ring action. So it's just very puzzling how Anna Jay has just kind of just been skirting along. And I think now you just kind of threw her in the mix, kind of like the Preston Vance thing, because of the whole Brody Lee memorial that was just kind of strung together.
Bingo. Both of his handpicked guys got title matches after wins on whatever the show was last week.
Yep. Feels like Anna's just there.
Yeah. But Jeffrey, I'm mad at you because you don't actually rhyme. I would like you to start doing your comments in rhyme because it says Jeffrey Rhymer.
Yeah, I would like that. I would like a little bit of rhymes in your comments, you know, like give me some juice here. Give me some juice, Jeff.
Yeah.
Come on. Vince.
I thought for what it was worth, I thought it was an okay match. You know, I think Julia Hart is, again, another underrated person that she's now getting more time on TV. But I mean, where can you go with this? It was, you know, I mean, Sarah J. She was gone for a while, and now she's back. So
okay,
there was nothing wrong with the match. It was fine. How you got here was a little bit silly, but I mean. Right. You know, I mean, for a guy who complained about Jinder getting a title match, you know, having a meltdown on Twitter, he does the same thing all the time. So, you know, you know, I guess fair is fair. Yeah, I criticize Tony Khan for it, but I didn't criticize This is not about, but their methods of storytelling and booking are completely different. One is for the stories, the other is for the matchups. Anyway, there was nothing wrong with this match. It was fine. I think Anna Jay is actually a better wrestler than Julia Hart, but Julia Hart, her character is so much more developed, has so much more levels with or without House of Black. There's so much more going on around her. So they threw Anna Jay a bone. Fine. Yeah, does she feel lost? Well, she is lost. I mean, she came into her own, and then they added Taya Valkyrie, and then they added Saraya, and then they added, you know, they just added Deonna Purrazzo. They added Mariah May. They've added about 1 billion women that you know, since then. And, you know, every time you add someone else, you're pushing someone down a little bit. And that's just the way of the world. You know, Madison Rain's another one. She's not featured very much, but she was when she first came in. She's hurt. And now they're doing these vignettes 3 weeks in a row of Serena Deeb coming back. Okay. And they never quite let go of like Hikaru Shida or whatever. And some people are probably like, yeah, bitch, she's great. But, you know, some people have to take a step backwards so others can take a step forward. Anyway, that's it. She is sort of listless, but, you know, she got her match and it was fine.
Yep. So our main event now, to wrap up Battle of the Belts, we have the former 10 Preston Vance against Orange Cassidy for the International Championship.
You can't cut a promo worth of shit. He was terrible in his interview.
This was one of the most oddest things to me. You know, it's clear what they did here. Anna Jay got the big win on her 8-man tag, and Preston Vance got the big win on his 8-man tag. And I mean, I didn't, you know, watch the show on TV. I attended it, but nowhere did I ever hear anything about, hey, the winner is going to receive a title shot at Battle of the Belts. And that would have been nice to know. It's clearly what they did, and it just would have been a nice little tidbit to kind of throw that in there just to kind of make it a little more interesting and some intrigue to the match. I just feel it's little things that AEW does that could really just add a little more consistency to what they're trying to do for storyline purposes. And it would go a long way just by doing something so stupidly simple. like there is so much potential. There is so much potential for AEW, and it sucks sometimes because I'm such a big fan of the product, how I'm watching so much get wasted.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that Anna Jay in that 8-person match did get the win over Julia Hart. But Preston Vance didn't get the win over Orange Cassidy. So, I mean, at least Julia Hart, you could infer that's the reason she got the pinfall over the champion. I mean,
no, she did not. She did not.
She
Julia
did. So
Hart.
in neither case did they actually pin the champion.
Correct.
So who'd she beat?
Sky Blue tapped out.
Scott, you're right. You are right. All right. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they should have at least had the champions take the pinfalls then to make it make sense.
I mean, I know they had the stare off, and you're like, oh, you just assumed that a match was going to happen at that point. Didn't make a whole lot of sense for OC and Preston, but I know OC's on his little, I'll fight you. His little kick right now, and that's cool. That's cool. I mean, listen, I love OC. I think he is a lot more fun to watch, and seeing where he started to where he is now. He's legitimate. To me, he's legitimate. I know he's not for everybody. His shtick is kind of meh. He's oddly somehow became more serious, and that's what I've been asking him to do. And I think it's worked. I think it's worked how he's a little more serious now. He is still the sloth and the whatever guy, but you're seeing a little more of the non-gimmicky wrestling from him, which is, I think, something that he really needs to get away from, is do a little bit of the gimmick, but wrestle. When you're in there just, so nonchalant, it's fucking wrestling, guys.
Well, what we didn't mention is when Preston Vance was being interviewed and did a terrible job with his interview, Roderick Strong with his porn mustache yelled something, came in for the Kingdom, which obviously, they're like, hey, good luck tonight. And Preston Vance all of a sudden reminded you now he's a face also. He's like, this is none of your business. What are you guys doing here? Just stay out of my business. After I beat him for the title, I will kick your ass too. And then Roderick Strong acts like he's Anthony Bowens. He's like, oh, I like it. Wow. I mean, which was a little weird. But the Kingdom set up chairs at the top of the ramp on the stage to watch the match. And we know what's happening. They were supposed to be in and around the Samoa Joe thing with a healthy Adam Cole. And Adam Cole's not healthy. So, and I guess it's bad news. He's not going to be healthy for a while. So they're going to put Roderick Strong in the Kingdom, who already have the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Nobody cares about. And they can put Roderick Strong in the hunt for this international championship. And he'll probably get it to further this story of being the totally not undisputed era. But this match itself, listen, on Orange Cassidy, 2 seconds on it. I think that there's 500,000 wrestling fans that feel exactly the way you do, and that is 65% of the AEW fan base. So fine, good on. I think there's a place for Orange Cassidy, but I think it's more of a Danhausen thing. Just my opinion. I'm not going to say he doesn't work hard. He hasn't tried to carry the brand, that he doesn't, wrestle 2 or 3 times a week and all that. I just can't. He's a twig. My kids are bigger than he is, and one of them's 20. Anyway, but this match wasn't good, and he still does the schlock in the middle of it. And like, if he just dropped the oh, and I know the fans love to go oh, but it looks stupid to people on TV.
It does.
And it's not, Tony. It's everything's. I know you book like it's a house show, but it isn't a house show. Yes, the crowd wants to have fun. I have news for you. They're gonna have fun. Every live wrestling show is fun, even bad ones. That's not entirely true. I went to a Raw house show about 15 years ago. It was awful. But that's besides the point. Most everyone is. Anyway, obviously Preston Vance did not win in a match that was way too long. And then the Kingdom and Roderick Strong looked like they were going to triple team Orange Cassidy, but the screen went off. at least best friends didn't come in to make a rescue. It just show just sort of ended.
The show just ended. The show ended. Awkward ending. Just boom, where it's done. It's over. So and that was Battle of the Belts. That was Battle of the Belts. Vince, I mean,
I fell sick of that match.
Yeah. I mean, I just it didn't matter. It just sadly didn't matter. It just was there, and it wasn't. And I feel that was Battle of the Belts tonight. It was there, and then it wasn't.
I feel like Tony Khan doesn't care about these shows anymore, and I think that that's a little telling. Whatever we were talking about TV before, I think that maybe he knows he has a better chance with Dynamite if he drops the Rampage and/or Collision, maybe, and then maybe you do have a Battle of the Belts once a quarter where you put on a pay-per-view like event 4 times a year on TV.
I'll tell you this: Tony Khan, I think is going to. I think Dynamite and Collision are his main little babies. Dynamite more so now than Collision. But, at least at Dynamite, when I was there on Wednesday, he came out and his one of 10 times or so, which boggles my mind how he just comes out so much. He promised Collision in Jacksonville. So he is planning to have Collision for a while, it would appear. And
he has lots of plans, but he unilaterally makes these plans. Now, with having Collision in Jacksonville, that's entirely up to him. Whether it airs on a particular network or time is up to someone else.
Right.
I mean, he can self-fund. Someone called it a hobby, and they're right. I'm just going to say you can call it an intense hobby. I'll call it a vanity project. So it's a hobby that it's like having a racehorse. You want it to win, but you don't really care because you have a fucking racehorse. I mean, I've got a racehorse. I got to go to the Belmont Stakes and the Kentucky Derby, and and own something. I mean, he could go to whatever he wants, but it's different being the owner than being a spectator. Even once there's different levels to elite. So he wants to be all elite. Anyway, I don't really want to talk about Tony Khan, but this show, I'm just going to skip to my grade. And I'm sorry, between the Collision and the Battle of Belts, I'm giving this an F. I think this show was a fail.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but Vince.
Does 6 out of 10 sound better? Because that's 60%. That's still a foul.
I would give Collision a C.
I think that's right.
And I would give Battle of the Belts. Give it a D.
I think I'm with you on that, Vince. I think I'm with you on that.
I mean, it wasn't good.
No, it was not good. It was not good. Tonight was a disappointment, and it fell completely flat. This is really odd because I feel like Collision.
What letter does flat start with?
Yeah,
F.
It's F. It's F. It is F. It's flat. No, but I think there were some redeeming qualities, and I think some of those redeeming qualities elevated the show to an extent. But I don't think it was a total failure. I just think that it was poorly booked.
Okay, I'll raise my grade to a D-.
Okay. We'll take your D-. But yeah, I mean, let's before we sign off here, let's do some parting shots. Evil Dose, what do you got?
Parting shots? At this point, I just want to part. I thank anybody who watched those 3 hours and watched us. I thank those people more who didn't watch those 3 hours and chose to watch us instead. Thank you for the chat for being involved. And as always, like and subscribe and share. Felt flat, double F. But yeah, if you want to follow me other places, listen to listen to Hammerlock Hangover with Big Daddy Cool Steve Pena and Bad Guy Jack, both from Unpopular Review, my co-hosts, and my non-wrestling podcast, Garden of Doom, which comes with Garden Views, and that's more cryptids, UFOs, paranormal, mythology, things that go bump in the night. And Garden Views is sort of like legal and business, and but like fun things like cryptocurrency and AI and the laws of space and stuff like that.
Nice. Thank you, Vince.
Oh, you can always find me every Wednesday with these fellas as we do our AEW Dynamite wrap-up show right after Dynamite, and then you can catch me once a week. I put out the Vincent LaSpada show, which is on SoundCloud. You can catch that as I review movies and we talk about everyday life and just random topics. But I think it's a good listen. So go to soundcloud.com/Vincent LaSpada and you can find me there.
Wonderful, guys. All right, so we will definitely, we want to thank everyone that listened tonight. Thank everyone for being here. Thank you for the support that you continue to give. Unpopular review, especially the AEW side of things. We encourage you all to continue to listen to Unpopular Review, the many multitude of channels that we do have, and please like, subscribe, support what we're doing here, support the product, and you'll catch us on Wednesday night for Dynamite, and we promise it will be as spicy as ever, and we're going to give you the hardcore God's honest truth of the state of what is going on in AEW. But until then, ladies and gents, thank you. Have a fantastic weekend. Happy Saturday night, and we will see you on Wednesday night.
Stay able, my friends.